I kind of want to take it back. Let's give some people some background. If you aren't familiar with John Tharp, or maybe not familiar with Hillsdale College, you wouldn't know that for several years prior to being named director of athletics, John was Coach Tharp, and he coached the men's basketball program there. And really, your pedigree and your background, basketball guy through and through. So
Yeah.
take me back to Wisconsin, where kind of
Yeah.
things all started, and where your journey in college athletics really began.
Yeah. Katie, it's always great to reflect, right? When you have an opportunity to talk, and kind of going back to just, fond memories. And so, my even, I was blessed. I told everybody in my life I had some great coaches. Really started off with my dad, and from an early age, I came from a family of six. I was number five. I used to get the heck knocked out of me all the time from my older brothers, and my dad was coached me all the way up really until high school, and so just had an amazing foundation of basketball and life from my parents, and was lucky enough to play for a high school basketball coach named Tom Desautels at Sheboygan North High School. And my junior year, we won the Wisconsin State Championship. I had very little to do with that. We had a 7-foot center. My job was to make sure he got the ball. But this Tom Desautels, one of his best friends in life was John Wooden, and so I had a chance to be around Coach Wooden 2 or 3 different times over my life, and and being just around him, it was such a great experience. And when I had my Lawrence University team met with him in California, we were playing in a tournament, and man, could he hold court, and even at an older age of his life. And so blessed to really have a great high school coach, and then played Division III basketball for a guy named Bill Napton at Beloit College. And Coach was at one time was president of the NABC. He won over 500 games and was a really just a classy man. Uh, so all these people in my life had such a great influence for getting into coaching. I stayed at Beloit and received. I knew if I left school, I wasn't going to go back to get my master's degree, Katie, and so I stayed there and received my master's degree and was an assistant coach. I was teaching at a Catholic high school, get my master's degree, and was the assistant coach at Beloit College. And because of Coach Napton and the reputation that he had, Lawrence University hired me when I was 24 years old, and that was in Appleton, Wisconsin. And Katie, it was one of those things. I was going to try to turn that program around as fast as I possibly could and kind of climb that ladder. And my wife and I had our first child, and my firstborn was my little girl Michaela. And at that moment, I decided what was really important to me, and so uh, building that program over 13 years, and the idea of the importance of family, and my family was a part of the basketball program, right? And the basketball program was part of the family, and spent 13 great years there. And then in 2007, I received a phone call from Dr. Arn, and he said, "Why have you not applied for my job?" And I said, "Well, sir, I'm an hour and 15 minutes from my parents and an hour and 15 minutes from my wife's parents." And he said, "Well, I expect you to be here like in 48 hours." We I showed up, did the interview, received the job offer, and I shared this story with everybody. On the second interview, I had to bring my family back, and my 3 kids, Katie, were playing, or 2 of the 3 kids were playing at a YMCA 3-on-3 tournament. And so we loaded up the van and we drove to Hillsdale, Michigan, and it was late at night, early in the morning, and my wife kind of hits my shoulder while I'm driving, and I said, "What?" And she goes, "Where in the hell are we?" And we laughed. I go, "I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think we're in Michigan somewhere." And sure enough, we've been here since 2007, and it's been an incredible blessing.